nobody here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, I'm going to do it. I didn't trust my own instincts and voice enough to be like, no, I can lead this.
Yeah.
And that once it got too far away from me, I just immediately got into like resentment and anger.
Yeah. So we actually had a moment with our second movie that went to HBO where we had like finished a first cut of it.
Yeah.
And we shared it with some friends of ours, and they sat us down. They were trying to be nice. They were trying to like give us what they thought was the right advice.
Yeah.
But basically their advice was this should be a short film, not a feature.
Oh, wow.
Hello. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is the Be the Train podcast, which is based on my book, but it is also a podcast about creating momentum and figuring out our careers in the ever-changing landscape of the creative media. Yeah, kind of exploring like the ups and downs and success, and helping other people with little tools that we think, open up our world and help us. And today I'm very excited to have a good friend of mine, Kat Del Rey, who's a director and a writer and an actress and a producer, multi-hyphenate as we all are. And she will tell us a little bit more about herself, and then we'll deep dive into what it means for her to be the train.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Kat Del Rey, and as Selena said, I am a multi-hyphenate. So yeah, creator, actor, director, writer, all the things.
So love it.
I'm excited to dive in.
Yes. So, my first question to you is, what does it mean to you to be the train?
That's a really good question. I think it means keeping yourself motivated, being the motivation, keeping it going.
Yeah.
Even when there's like moments of stagnancy. So yeah, I think being the train is just being the momentum.
And in your own life, what do you do when you have moments of stagnation, which I think as artists and as creatives, we all do.
Totally.
Right. And so the question is like, what do we do in those moments to keep ourselves going or to keep momentum going?
Right.
Or do we pause, or do we what do you do in those moments?
Yeah, I think, the industry's been such a flux the last 5 years.
Yep.
So it's been kind of like chaos.
Yeah.
But I think with those moments, I let myself go, with my imagination. I just really take the stakes out of it, because I've been in a position where you burned and then you're just at the lowest of low, and you're like, how do I get out of this now? And so I just kind of just take a breath.
Yeah.
You have to realize a creative career is an entire lifetime. It's not just a season.
Yeah.
So you just have to remind yourself of that.
I love that, actually. I love what you're saying, that it's a lifetime, because I think that there's so much there. There are so many people I know, including myself, that we give ourselves these very unrealistic goals. We're I remember when I came to LA, I was like, if I haven't made it as an actress, by the way, you know how long I gave myself? 1 year. No. I was like, if in 1 year I'm not a famous actress, then fuck this shit.
Oscar.
Yes. And it's crazy looking back now. Obviously, I was really green and had no idea what I was talking about.
Right.
But it's so funny that in my head, I could even conceptualize that in 1 year, I would make my entire career happen. Right. And so I love that you're saying that it takes a lifetime. So what does that mean? So let's break that down. If it does take a lifetime, what can we do to make those adjustments in our day-to-day life? So that we're not just waiting. It's we're not just waiting for something and being this is going to happen in the next 6 months. This is going to change everything. And then my life is going to start. If we can reframe and be actually, this career is a lifetime. So what does that mean for my day to day, or how I'm going about goal setting and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think for me, it was really wrapping around the mentality of it and a practice. I like to read a lot of books, thought-provoking books, things that trigger the creative process, things that trigger the mindset. And I try to incorporate those daily, or if it's through meditation or even exercise, just these little tools. It just kind of depends on what my body's feeling. And I think that also comes from training, right? As an actor, you're training the mind, the body, and everything to be a character. Yeah. So I think that when you're creating, you have to remind yourself it's kind of the same practice in a way. So I don't know. I think for me, that just works. So
Yeah.
I think you just have to find something that's true to you and true to your voice and true to who you are as a creative person and find it and hold on to it and practice it.
Is there anything you feel like could help people with patience, like having the, you know what I mean? I'm so impatient. I'm so impatient, and I'm like, how do I find something in my like toolbox that like helps me not feel like a huge failure when something hasn't happened in like this super short time frame that I gave myself?
Yeah. So hard.
Yeah.
I struggle with that too. And I think the social media aspect of everything and the online presence of everything has just expedited that feeling.
Yeah.
And I think for patience, I shut things off. If I'm like derailing, basically like off the track.
Yeah.
I'm on like a spiral. I'm like, okay, you really need to chill. You need to like just like put it away.
Yeah.
You need to put it away and you just need to assess like where you're at. And if the goal line is shifting, sit down with that goal line and get uncomfortable. Be like, well, what is the real expectation here? What you know, like how can I really what is it really looking like for me?
Yeah. So then I guess maybe like having deadlines, having goals, but also like checking in with them constantly.
Flexibility.
Yeah. So that you can shift them and feel like you're still doing the thing you said you were doing, but maybe the time frame is slightly different.
Totally.
Or maybe you're focusing your attention on something else for now. That's a different creative project coming back to the other one.
Yes, exactly. Like vacillate between if you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're able to keep on one thing, I just find like I know if it's like a dead road and you're like, oh, this isn't really working right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do need to shift my attention elsewhere. And then oddly, that dead road opens back up and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
So I think that's also just like being in tune with your creativity in that process.
What do you think are some ways that you have maybe created your own opportunities or your own momentum? Like, has there ever been a moment where you're like, the door just wasn't opening, so I had to like make my own door or like create it for myself or, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of been my trajectory.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of closed doors. I didn't just come into this with like, I booked a pilot out here and that was like the one door that opened and got me to LA. And
where were you before?
I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I lived in Arizona for like a hot second, but I had an agent out there that booked me work out here.
Okay.
And it was my first time in LA. I went by myself. I had nobody here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I came out here terrified and did it. And that was the first door opening. And then everything else has just been a hard process.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I want to be an actor. And like you, I had similar things. I'm giving myself like a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to be famous.
Yeah.
Like you're so naive. And I was so young. It was harder than I thought. And even in that auditioning process, you would get so far and then not book the job.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's just been kind of like realizing as an actor self, I was like, I love this, but I hate the process of auditioning so much.
Yeah.
I also don't like getting rejected 24/7 and I'm getting a complex because of it. And I need to like, I don't know, I need to create something for myself. So I just simultaneously to acting have always been creating. And I think I lost track of the question.
So when you're creating opportunities for yourself, so for example, do you cast yourself in things?
Yeah, okay.
Do you like, are you writing for yourself?
Yes.
Or are you moving more into directing or what are the ways in which you feel like you're opening your own doors?
Yeah, I think I do both.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find a story and it's like I write it. I do a lot of my own writing and some of the stories really fit for me and some others are truly not for me.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of take the back seat and be like, oh, I'm going to direct it. You know, be a creative producer on it, whatever it may be. What I'm currently working on, I'm not in any of it. The feature that I'm working on that I'm really trying as my first feature, I'm not in it.
Is there moments where you're like, can I write someone in that could be me? Or you're like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, I think and that's when I'm like, oh, maybe I could do like there's one little supporting role. I can like put myself in.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'll have to just talk to the CD about it.
Yeah.
Then I'm also like, well, this could be a really good fit for someone with a little bit of a name. You know what I mean? So
it
kind of depends on like
What do you think are the pros and cons of choosing yourself versus choosing someone with a name?
I think it depends on the story for me.
Yeah.
Pros would be like obviously writing your own characters, writing stuff that you've been interested in, that you really want to play and explore. That's really fun. I've found that more in like short form for myself.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to get done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, this is great real material.
Yeah.
But in the feature sense, I find writing outside of myself, or like if it's a story that's from me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I've already lived that. I don't really need to go through that again
Yeah.
as an actor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I just
Oh.
want to explore it with
That's interesting.
someone else.
Because in my film, what was interesting was like, which was also like complicated in its own way, but I was playing like an alternate version of myself, an
Yeah.
experience that I already had.
Right.
But it wasn't me, but it's a version of me. And it was like a version of an experience that I already had.
yeah.
And it is interesting because like, yeah, it's true. I had kind of like lived it.
Yeah.
But then in a way it was like also cathartic to kind of play it through a different, like a slightly different POV.
Okay.
But I can also see like, you know, obviously there would have been a lot of pros to getting a more famous actor to play me.
Right.
You know?
Like maybe be easier in the
Yeah, so I could have seen that. But then on the
Totally.
other hand,
You got something else out of it.
well, yeah, and I think
Yeah.
like also the fact that, you know, we were able to have such a wide release with the film and that I was the star of it is like, you know, it's crazy that I did choose to put myself in there
Yeah.
and that we ended up having this road with it.
Totally.
And then it's like in the poster, it's me.
Yeah.
Which is
Which is
crazy.
really cool.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
wild. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess we never know what the other road could look like.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think with this current, like the feature that I'm after right now, I wrote it.
Yeah.
And it's very cathartic writing it. And it's like, whew, that
Yeah.
was like therapy in itself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think I need to, I don't
Yeah.
know about the character.
Yeah.
I did explore it before I made that choice.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
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 I think it does depend. It
Yeah.
depends on how you write in the movie that you're making.
Yeah, and I think also like choosing, right? Like which ones you really need to
Yes.
be in or which ones you really need to direct or because like, right, there's also stuff where you're like, okay, I can write this and sell it or I
Oh,
can,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, because I mean, we want that for some of our projects.
Absolutely.
But then I think some of our projects, it is actually really nice to be like, no, this one's mine.
It's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one like really, it matters to me that I
Totally.
direct it or someone else wouldn't get it the way I get
For
it,
sure.
you know?
Yeah. And it's that creative journey,
Yeah.
right? Again, it's a lifetime. To me,
Yeah.
a lifetime. I'm like, obviously there's goals and goal setting and everything. And then I think the industry adds a certain pressure, especially as an actress.
Yeah.
As you know, you're like,
Yeah.
must make something grand before I hit a certain age.
Yeah.
So I think, that works against you. But if you can counteract that with mentality work and
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what would you say, has there ever been a moment where you feel like you've been derailed where you were either like, I don't want to do this anymore, or you were on a project and you were like, this is just not happening, or this has been a big waste of time, or I'm just like done putting energy into this.
Yeah.
And then like, what did you do in that moment to kind of like bring yourself back energetically, or how did you help yourself?
Yeah, I think for me it was giving too much away.
Mm.
Like coming in with the idea, writing with like I used to write with just collaborators.
Yeah.
Because I think coming out of acting and taking having that be a backseat thing for a while,
Yeah.
I didn't trust my own instincts and voice enough to be like, no, I can lead this.
Yeah.
And that once it got too far away from me, I just immediately got into like resentment and anger.
Yeah.
And I think there was a point I was on a project and it was a good project. I think there's just like too many hands in the kitchen. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't just like keep ignoring my own voice. And it just like, I don't know, I just had this fire in me and it was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm doing this for myself.
And so then you stepped away from that.
I stepped away from that and I just started creating. I just started writing for myself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like how you dealt with it, was to continue creating, but on your own terms.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And not wait for people.
Yeah.
I think that was the other thing. It's like, I love working with people, but I hate waiting.
Yeah.
I'm not
Me too.
so impatient. TikTok. I'm 80 years old,
No.
So I think there was a lot of just that as well, where it's just like, okay, and the development landscape too is a lot like that
Yeah.
when you're building features out. And so it just was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah.
Waiting on auditions, waiting on booking the job, waiting on,
Yeah.
are we doing this project, waiting on people's schedules. I was like, I need to have some autonomy
Yeah.
for myself
Yeah.
and my own creativity.
And you started your own company.
And I started my own company.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you decide to do that? From the same kind of place?
Same kind of frustration.
Yeah.
I was just like, I was working with people that just had no seriousness attached to things, and things were just always going by the wayside, or they'd be flighty, or it's LA. So
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to start a company. And I opened it with, my best friend, and we just had the same kind of path. We both were kind of just done working with flighty people, and we were just like, well, we both have this thing. I know we both have different ideas of how we want to operate inside the company, but we had the same mentality.
What would you say your 13-year-old self would have defined success as versus how you define success for yourself now?
I was a little turd at 13.
So what does that mean?
I was like a rebellious little 13-year-old. Like, I just rebelled against everything. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, if you want to think about it, we can come back to it.
Okay. No, I think like my 13-year-old self would define success as like, be the lone dog, do everything on your own, because I was so
interesting
misinterpreted at 13. I had a spat. I was really sick. So I was like sick for a year and a half. And I was socially awkward, and I just had a lot of things that just weren't working in my life. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do everything alone.
Interesting.
And so I thought that was successful. And so coming out here as a teenager at 19,
wow,
I still had that. Like, whatever amount for me.
Yeah.
And that's very lonely.
Yeah.
And you meet the wrong people.
Yeah.
You meet the wrong community, and you get into the wrong groups. And especially in LA, you're like, So I really didn't, it didn't feel like me, because that wasn't really who I was. It was just a character, an ego that I put on and presented. And so I think success for me was falling from that, realizing that wasn't really my identity.
Yeah.
And then building a community that I could really like hang on to, because I think through the creativity life that we're living, you need people to lean on. And you need people that see you.
You need a support system.
You need a support system.
Yeah.
It's so important. I think that's the definition of success, is a support system.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I actually think you really can't be successful without a support system. Totally. I think it's like impossible, because even with a support system, it's really hard. Yeah. And there's a lot of moments with a lot of doubt and a lot of not knowing what you're doing or where you're going, but having some sort of support system, whether it's in the form of a partnership, or whether it's in the form of people cheering you on, or whether it's in the form of people giving you their, critical thoughts, but like all of it, I think is really important and helpful. So you're pregnant. So how pregnant are you? And how do you feel like, how do you feel you work that into your lifetime vision for, by the way, I have 2 kids.
Yes.
And I always really wanted to be a mom.
I love
and so to me, I remember I actually said to my husband, because he's my business partner, I said to him, we need to have...
to you.
What?
Which is more power to you.
Thank you. But I remember actually, I had like a very serious plan, because he was like, we need to wait until we're more successful until we have kids.
Okay.
And I was like, actually, no, it's reverse. I want to have kids by the time I'm 30. This is my plan.
Yeah.
I was like, because I think we're going to be our most successful when we're like in our mid 40s, mid 50s.
Oh, totally.
And at that point, I want a kid who's like in college. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to like,
in the house.
I want to have like gone through the like, very intense part. And I want them to like be on their own journey at the point that we're just like killing it, Right. I was like, because I think we need like a good 20 to 30 years, to like get to like where to get to that point. Yeah. And he was kind of like, okay, I mean, I see that. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, does that mean we need to start now? Like, fuck, But anyway, I'm curious, like, what if you've like had this conversation, or what your vision, for your life and your career looks like with this.
Yeah, I was apprehensive. Like, my husband was very much like, I want to have a kid. And he peacocked me for like 5 years.
Oh, what does peacock mean?
Like, he just was like
Flirting with
showing
you.
his feathers.
Flirting?
Flirting. He's like, are we having a baby?
I love that.
And so I think for me, I really wanted to be in a position where I was in the mental space where I was like, okay, great. I was a little bit like Dan.
Yeah.
We share that. I was like, I don't know. I think I'm going to set things up first.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, obviously nothing's perfect. And it's like, oh my gosh, this career is insane.
Yeah.
And I've always known that. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And it's made it better being pregnant. And I think I'm excited for this chapter because I'm taking different risks.
Yeah.
I'm organizing and orchestrating things differently than I have ever done.
Yeah.
And my creativity is like insane
Yeah.
now.
Well, also, I think
So-
you get really, really productive because you have to.
Yeah, you have no choice.
You have no choice.
I'm like this creature.
Yeah.
It's going to rely on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kicked it up like tenfold.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
exciting.
mind.
Yeah.
Like, why did I wait? So
Yeah.
to your point, maybe I should have been like, okay, 2 years of peacocking.
Well,
Kind of.
what's funny too, I think that, and by the way, I don't think you just get this from having children. I think you
Right.
get this from any human experience. But I
Right.
think that there's this way in our industry where we're so prone to being like workaholics.
100%.
And it's just like work, 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 work.
Right.
And then it's like, wait, if we're storytellers,
Right.
don't we need to live lives to have
Yes.
stories to tell? Like if
Yes.
I'm just working all the time, then what's the story I'm telling?
What am I drawing from?
What am I drawing from? And so I think that there was a moment for me, at least, where I had this realization because I was in super workaholic mode.
Mhm.
And this was before I had kids, where it just hit me like, I don't even have anything to say because I
Right.
just don't let myself live lately.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, I'm just doing it all wrong. Like, I need to have more life moments where I'm like
Mhm.
embracing and doing and being present with life
Yeah.
so that can like fuel and inspire me to tell the stories that I want to tell.
I relate to that 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I am such a workaholic too.
Yeah.
And you do. You just have to let life take the lead sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
And I think like being in the industry, it's the industry part that you're just like, no, I got to keep going, got to be a
Yeah.
machine, can't let life in,
Yeah.
And you feel like it weakens you in some way. And I think as a woman in
Yeah.
the industry too, I think, it's starting to change.
Yeah.
It's been changing, which is great to see, but it hasn't always been that way. So you also have that old model playing in your head.
Well, let me see. What are some daily or weekly habits that you have that you feel have helped you build some momentum?
Weekly habits. I check in with my community.
Okay.
I like to
Like
check
on
in.
Instagram or like
Whatever. Instagram, text. Hey, you want to chat for 5 minutes? I think it's important to just keep people in your life.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to get sidetracked with
Yeah.
everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
So I try to do that with my friends and the people that I'm collaborating with, just to be like, how's life?
Yeah. No, it's good.
know?
Yeah, that's important. And also even on social media, it's interesting because I feel like I used to think, so lately I've been putting more attention on my social media,
Yeah.
which is really hard for me because I have a very love-hate relationship with it
Oh, totally.
because I want to just be completely off of it.
Yep.
And I want to be really present all the time
Uh-huh.
with my kids, with my life, with my husband, with my work.
Yeah.
But then I also want to engage people and have community and build an audience. And then when I'm doing something, I want people to care.
Yeah.
People can't care if you're not showing up authentically.
100%.
And so then it's like you have to be vulnerable.
it's
And
so
it's like,
much.
oh my God, it's so much. But what's interesting is that lately I feel like I've been trying to put an effort into being more vulnerable
Yeah.
on social media.
Love that.
And I think like it's scary, but also I think what comes out of it is like people that relate to you on a deeper level
Mhm.
that can like see your vulnerability and their own vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I feel like so much of community is just checking in.
Totally.
Like whether it's being like, hey, how are you? Or what are you up to?
Mhm.
Or being like, here's something I'm going through. Is anyone going through this?
yes.
You know?
100%. Making yourself relatable to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also like sharing your experience and seeing if anybody
Mhm.
else is having a similar
Totally.
experience, which I think you're pretty good at actually on socials.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I have this like love hate thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, today, vulnerability. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay consistent, I think, with it, because sometimes you're like, nah, I just want to post this, you know? So it's,
Yeah.
yeah. So weekly, like, yeah, for sure that I have that same thing, the community aspect. And then I like to write. Like, I like to do like brain dump.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I read it in The Artist Way 500 years
Yes,
ago.
yes. The
Yeah.
morning pages.
The morning pages.
My husband does the morning pages every morning, and he like swears by them.
Oh my gosh.
Don't ever stop doing them.
I've gone through flows, like,
Yeah.
you know, where you're like, woohoo, I'm on a streak, and then you'll stop and you're like, why is my head filled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to start doing them. I like had a moment where I was doing them.
Yeah.
And then it just got so much with the kids. But
Yeah.
I feel like it actually is so valuable, and I want to prioritize it more
Yeah.
because I've heard, like, I haven't done it in so long, but I remember the feeling of just putting everything on paper and feeling like, oh, like an unload,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah. Because I think we don't realize we're like programs
Yeah.
and we just keep adding to it. So we just have to delete sometimes.
Yeah. And even like our thoughts.
Yes.
Like there's certain thoughts that we're just programmed to have. And I just feel like even just putting them out and down is like gives you space in your brain.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even if you do it like literally like twice or
Yeah.
3 times a week, it still helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
love that. And so what would you say is some advice you would give to other filmmakers that are trying to figure out their way in the industry?
Yeah.
What would you say? And it doesn't have to be, you know, just career. It could be career, it could be personal, but
Right.
like maybe some sort of tool or something they can take away for what they can be doing with themselves to stay
Mhm.
in their own momentum or
Yeah.
creativity.
I think like it's so easy to get sidetracked by what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And I think you really just need to keep following your own voice and your intuition.
Yeah.
And like take and leave advice as it like this little piece worked for me, this does, the rest doesn't.
Yeah.
Like don't take everything so seriously
Yeah.
on what people tell you to do. Because I think there's so many paths to a successful career in our
100%.
industry. And it's not a one fits all box.
No, and it's interesting. So we actually had a moment with our second movie
Yeah.
that went to HBO where we had like finished a first cut of it,
Yeah.
and we shared it with some friends of ours, and they sat us down. They were trying to be nice. They were trying to like give us what they thought was the right advice.
Yeah.
But they basically their advice was, and this was like a very early cut. So
Yeah.
obviously like didn't have color, didn't have sound, whatever. But their advice was this should be a short film, not a feature.
Oh wow.
Which is, yeah.
Were they film people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're like big film people.
Okay.
They've done some big things. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
so it's a weird thing to receive
Yeah.
because on one hand, it's like, you know, we know they're our friends and they love us and they have good
Totally.
intentions.
Mhm.
It's a really hard note to receive when you like cut a feature
Absolutely.
for someone to be like, this should be a short.
You're like, oh.
I like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, we were like, you know what? They just like have been doing this for a long time and they're good at what they do. And like, we
Right.
should take, you know, people into consideration.
Sure.
So long story short, I ended up hiring an editor
Okay.
and I did like a cut, like a short cut of the film. Just because I was like, I want to
Let me see.
explore what they're saying.
Mhm.
And they had this editor that they thought was really good, that could do a really good job with the cut. Anyway, so we did it when we paid for this cut. And then I watched it and Dan watched it, who directed it. And we were just like, no, like, this is not a short for us. Like, this is 100% a feature.
Yeah.
And we were like, and we actually feel like we have a lot of work to do on the feature,
Yeah.
but we're not as far as we think
Uh-huh.
from like where we wanted to go or what feels good to us.
Right.
You know, and it was such an interesting journey because we had to actually like take the advice,
Right.
do the thing, watch it, and realize that's not at all what we were trying to do.
100%.
Then went back to the feature, did a bunch of things with the feature, and then that movie ended up getting sold to HBO,
Right.
which was like a huge turning moment in our career.
Yeah.
But like, had we not really checked in with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what would have happened. And so it's just
Totally.
interesting that like,
You wouldn't have been on HBO.
yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's interesting that, you know, like you said, you have to take the advice that makes sense to you, but not
Right.
take the advice that doesn't. And I think it's
Yes.
really hard to do that. And obviously being open to other people's advice, but like really knowing what speaks to you.
Totally. And I think it's you get even sidetracked with like agents and managers.
Yeah.
And, like representation. It's always a digesting
Yeah.
to a point and going, is this really a fit?
Yeah.
Does this really work?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
100%.
Well, I'm glad you did the feature because
Yeah. Thank
that's
you.
how I met you.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So and you want to tell, is there anything else that you would want to share with us?
Keep your eye on your prize, like whatever that may be.
Yeah.
If it's a feature, if you're whatever it is, know that there's always going to be like roadblocks, but there's always a path through the roadblock.
I love that.
Yeah.
And where can people follow you on socials or your work?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at _Royal Misfit.
Okay.
I've had this handle for like 14 years.
Well,
I'm like,
good.
I can't leave it.
No.
It's like my identity.
I know, you can.
So you can follow me there. Yeah, and you can follow my company too, Where There Are Films. And and everything else is interconnected.
Amazing. Love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for
And thank
having
you
me.
for
love.
joining Be the Train, where we're breaking down tips and tools and helping other creatives on their journey, on the
love it.
creative journey. Thank you.
You're amazing. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. Thank you.
Yes.